Okay, hi everyone. Like Daniel said, my name is Emma. I worked with Dr. Shelby Wilson this summer on modeling the COVID-19 outbreak in South American countries. So a bit of background, of course, we all know why COVID is important right now. It's a global pandemic and it's been reported in every country except two worldwide. But for the first time in history, models, mathematical models like the one I used, are actually providing information about COVID faster than experiment is. So I decided this summer to focus on South America. This region hasn't had a lot of COVID research done on it, and also it's an important place to me. I've spent time teaching there, and I really enjoyed it. So my model is the SEIR model. I chose to use this model because it is ideal for diseases with a long latent period like COVID does. So a bit about the SEIR model. It's made up of 4 compartments. It's a compartmental model. The first compartment is the susceptible compartment. This is people who have not gotten the disease yet. The E is the exposed compartment. This is people who were exposed to the disease and they've contracted it, but they're not infectious yet. The I is the infectious compartment, and those are people who can transmit the disease. For COVID, that's their droplets, their coughing or sneezing, or talking really with a lot of spit. And R is the removed compartment, and that is for people who have been removed from the SE or I. So that's people who either recovered from the disease and have gained more assuming lifelong immunity, or they passed away. So the way that people move between these compartments mathematically is through the 3 parameters I listed. People move between the susceptible and exposed compartments at a rate beta, the contact rate, which is defined by geographic and cultural factors. People move from exposed to infectious at a rate 1 over alpha, which is just the latent period, the length of time that you are not yet infectious but have been infected. And finally, you move from infectious to removed at a rate 1 over gamma, where gamma is the infectious period, which of course is just the average length of time that you're sick. So now I'll talk a bit about my methodology for my study. So first, what we did is we estimated the infectious population in each country that we were looking at. The way we did this is we took data from the Humanitarian Data Exchange on the total confirmed cases, the total deaths, and the total recoveries. And the infectious population is just the total confirmed cases minus the total deaths minus the total recoveries. So next, we split the data into compartments. For single countries, we split it into compartments based on the dates of non-pharmaceutical interventions, or NPIs. So basically, the way we did this is we found data about the lockdown measures that each country was putting into place. So the first compartment would be the period of time where nothing has happened, the first infected case to whenever they put something into place. And then you would start the second compartment when they close the schools or they have a national curfew or something like that. And basically you change the compartment every time there's a significant NPI like that. And lastly, then for each compartment that we've separated, we're going to use the Milder-Mead method in Python to optimize the contact rate. We kept the latent period and infectious period fixed based on COVID data that we already have from experiment and models. And we're just optimizing the contact rate for each of these compartments. So this is a couple examples of some of the countries we fit. Some of them had really consistent data and really good fits. On the left is some of our best fits. We have Colombia, Argentina, and Bolivia. All of them, our model fits the data pretty well. However, with Chile, they have a big anomaly in their data. They're around day 90, their infectious population drops by 40,000 in one day. So the dotted line, or sorry, the dashed line is the model fit originally with all of the data. And as you can see, it just doesn't fit the data because the SEIR model can't account for a big jump like that. But if we fit it with the data up to before the jump, it fits very cleanly. That's the solid line. So if we look at the countries with consistent data, we can make some predictions about the effects of the non-pharmaceutical interventions that were taken. So on the left is Argentina, and on the right is Colombia. The solid line is the line you just saw in the last graph, the model that we fit with all the MPIs. The dashed line is our estimation of the infectious population with no lockdown measures. So how we calculated that is we took the contact rate from the original first compartment where there were no lockdown measures yet, and we basically applied that contact rate to the whole time period instead of varying it. And we did the same with the no masks model. We took the date that they required masks, and we took the compartment before that and continued that contact rate, solved the whole system for that contact rate. And as you can see, the models with no lockdown measures, they're huge. They go so high, we had to crop a lot of this data, but the model with no masks is a little less conclusive. In Argentina, it shoots up very high, but in Colombia, it doesn't have much of a difference from the original. So next, I will talk about my joint model. So we, on the left, we have Peru, Ecuador, and Paraguay, which have all been fit using the same model I described before. However, Ecuador and Paraguay have kind of difficult data. Paraguay has very, very low numbers, disproportionately low numbers. And Ecuador has this kind of weird jump in their data where it's high for a little bit and then it goes back down. It's almost like a section of the data has been moved up. So because of these inconsistencies in the data and because the three countries are culturally similar, we were able to combine them into a joint model. Now, basically because their NPIs did not line up perfectly, we kind of divided it into compartments arbitrarily. And that's what I have on the left, the error in the model based on the different compartment sizes. We, all the way on the right, we have one giant compartment, which is 107 days long. And then on the left, further left, we have smaller compartments that has been split up. And as you can see, when we get down to a very small compartment, we get disproportionately high error. And the difference in the error here, based on how the compartment size has been split up, is a big example of the nonlinearity that we see in the system. So in conclusion, we found that the SEIR model with our time varying constant contact rate fits consistent data. And we also found that the NPIs we've predicted have definitely reduced the spread of COVID, but the masks are showing inconsistent effects. The joint model can be fit, we decided, due to the economic and geographic similarities of the countries we chose. And we actually found that the optimal compartment size is 21 days. Dr. Wilson and I predicted that this is because that's about the length of the full infection, the latent period plus the infectious period, a little longer. And very small compartments lead to very high error, which is a great example of the nonlinearity in the SEIR model. And lastly, we can't expect our model to fit inconsistent data. We did some digging and we found out that that big jump in Chile's data, they actually reported 40,000 recoveries in one day. And we predicted that the increase in Ecuador's data for that period of time was due to more available tests during that time. And in the future, we could expand the model to other countries or other continents. We could optimize the contact rate as a continuous function of time instead of using compartments. We could have contact rate as a continuous function, or we could investigate some of the anomalies in the data, such as Ecuador. So yeah, thank you all for listening. I would like to thank Dr. Wilson and Daniel for everything they provided for us this summer.